Hello everyone, welcome back to ESA Summer Online. We're still raising money for the Alzheimer Fund. If you would like to donate, links can be found below the stream. And also big thanks to Kaspersky, Twitch and ViewSonic for sponsoring this event. And now it's time for sniperdog147 to show off Valkyria Chronicles. Take it away.
Alright, hello everyone. Welcome to Valkyria Chronicles New Game Plus. I'm gonna say some details about the run before we start. So, we're starting a save that's not quite the save we would use for a regular run, but it's so we have the characters already. And I'm gonna be doing a different route tonight because Skies of Arcadia is the run following mine, and if you don't know, this game is made by the same dev team, and a few of the characters are there, so I kind of worked them into the route.
Hello, I'm Dr. Time Warp. I also run New Game Plus, and I'll be helping Sniper Dog commentate.
Alright, I'm gonna give a countdown. If you're ready, 3, 2, 1, go.
So, like Sniper Dog mentioned, he has to save specifically so that he can acquire the units right out the gate. However, all the menuing is still going to be pretty much the same. We just made sure that the units were there. And Vice, I believe, are going to be the ones we are grabbing.
Yes.
For Skies of Arcadia. And we will show them probably about over 50% of the run, actually.
Yeah, we use... Aiko's gonna be our scout, so she's gonna get, like, most of the attempts. Alright, forgive me
so
on
what
my
Sniper's
memory.
doing... Sorry. So what Sniper's doing here is grabbing guns that are only available in New Game Plus, because every time you complete the game, you can actually save your progress and take it into the next run. So he has all the guns already available and unlocked. He just needs to go in and equip them.
Yeah, we'll be explaining what those weapons are when we get to those chapters. For now, we're going to use a gun that's already equipped. It's going to be the S20. So you're going to see in a couple seconds, there's a circle on screen when we aim. So in this game, it's a third-person shooter, but it's also turn-based. So right now, you see I'm aiming and there's a circle, and it's really small. Anything within the circle is where you can hit. So like, you're going to see with another gun we're going to use for most of the run, the circle is like really big and there's a huge chance of missing. But this gun is extremely accurate. It's only really good in early game because the enemies are going to have more HP as we go on, but for now, it's just about the best weapon. And because Welkin is a story character, he is already equipped with the S20, so we do not have to menu it in, and we don't have access to any of our new units until Chapter 3. So it's very convenient that the S20 is basically perfect, with the exception of what is going to come up right after this. Hopefully, Chapter 1 is cooperative.
Generally speaking, the goal of each map is to go to the end. The early missions here are just kind of run to a specific point at the end, whereas most of the later chapters are going to be capturing the enemy flag at the very end of the map. So generally speaking, we can use a scout to pretty much just run past all the enemies and capture the enemy flag in a single turn.
Yeah, you can see the orange meter, that's our AP. As you can see, scouts have a lot of AP. You'll see when we get to other units that they basically have none compared to scouts. Alright, good job, Vulcan. He missed one shot. Even though we're really close and the S20 has good accuracy, the sandbags covers up a little of the aim circle, so there's a small chance Vulcan can fail that. And now we just have to sit down and watch this tank for a bit. We cannot destroy it this mission, so we're just going to run away, and it's like 5 seconds of a walk. Right, coming up, we have the first instance of luck really in the run. Alright, let's see how Vulcan does. Okay, he got up pretty quickly. Sometimes Vulcan gets stuck on like that truck nearby, and if he does, he'll like take a few seconds to get back up.
So the reason we try and complete each map in a single turn is because, as you can see there, enemy phases can be extremely slow.
Yeah.
Each enemy has the potential to waste just about as much time as that tank just did.
So we're just gonna walk to the end. You can see the goal on the map, the orange dot, and you can see it's really off where we actually have to go. That's gonna be a reoccurring theme in this game. The maps are more useful than I think most people think, but they're not exactly built to scale. Alright, coming up is our first auto-scroller of sorts of game. There's really only 4, but this is one you don't even get a move. They have that tank from Chapter 1, we're basically on the same map, and they want to destroy that gate. So, what we're going to do is we're going to take Alicia. She has the ZM-Car9. This gun is very inaccurate, but it does a lot of damage. We're going to park her right here, and they want to get that gate. So they're all going to run towards her. And you'll see what happens when you run towards the ZM-Car9. Well, we got 2 shots at a time. Alright, here they come. So, one thing to note, this isn't going to matter that much in the speedrun, but enemies have different type of vision. So she's a scout, so she has like 270-degree vision, I think. So she will just see the enemy instantly, which allows her to see like everything. Like whereas you'll see later with shock troopers, you have to be like right in front of them to even know you're there. All right, last guy. And right there, we saw a command point be destroyed. The enemy, if you destroy like a leader unit, they lose command points. It's not going to play a role in this rundown. And Lisa is very concerned about the gate, but next turn we will be able to fight the boss. We'll be using our first order of the run, which we can only do if Vulcan is not only on the map, but on the tank. Which we'll see very soon. And we got very bad luck here. We're going to get an extra cycle here, unfortunately. Our scout does not have ZM-Car9, so it takes him a very long time to get kills. Alright, here we go. So our first order is penetration. It is going to go and reduce the enemy's defense to 0. We need this because this tank cheats a bit in that normally you'll see in a second there's a big glowy blue spot, and that's their weak point, and it's a 10x multiplier. But this tank, it's a 1.5 multiplier, so we just cannot do enough damage to end it in one turn. ZM-Car9 could take out a heavy tank in one turn, but this light tank cheats.
So one of the benefits of running New Game Plus over any percent is that we have access to all the orders in the game. There are a lot of orders that you don't get until very late in your first playthrough, so having New Game Plus carries all the orders through, and that allows us to pretty much get through a lot of maps very quickly because nearly every single one we're issuing at least 1 or 2 orders.
Yeah. Is it, I think it's artillery support, which is the one you can only get in New Game Plus, even though that order is a bit of a meme. But most of them, they're, like, locked behind, like, chapter progression, so, like, it's literally impossible to get them for these missions. Like, penetration, you can never get in Chapter 2 because you have to grind for it, but we don't have to do that. Anyway, and this is what Dr. Time Warp was mentioning. The game is going to turn into Capture the Flag for quite a few missions in a row. It's going to be really fast-paced, so I'll try to explain these ones. So, this base, the game unfortunately placed really close to our other base. We don't even need a scout to get over here. We're gonna run here, and there's a lot of things you can see. There's like a tank over there. There's a tank that's not on screen. But in this game, we generally ignore the map, because we only have to clear the base. So even though there's all that stuff, we're just gonna ignore the level and walk into the space. And Ica was cooperative. Wait, just when I say it. So that is Resist Crossfire. For this run, I'm going to be donating $5 for every not good potential I get. I will keep track and mention at the end of the run. Usually, we do not use Ica, because he has Resist Crossfire. We usually use a scout named Mavil, and he has no negative potentials that are going to show up in the run, but Ica has quite a few. So I expect her to get Resist Crossfire every mission, basically. I'm going to explain how that works. It's kind of funny.
So in this map, the initial briefing kind of hints at it too. There's actually a little cheese here. You can throw a grenade over the wall to hit an exploding barrel to knock down a wall on the left side that saves time from having to go all the way around to the right side.
Yeah, there's a huge map here, but the game, the mini-map is very useful, or rather the mission briefing. It tells, like, a lot of the speedrun chats. So here's our little rubble. We're gonna get rid of that. Then, as you mentioned, we got an exploding barrel. This guy's gonna help us out. We only need that because that tank is in our way. Alright, and we stopped a little early because something we'll explain in Chapter 5. Hello, Mortar Support. This is just the press win button in early game. It's not bounced at all. Like, this is way too much damage for early game units. Alright, and he's just gonna walk in and achieve victory. We'll see it resist Crossfire. Nice. So coming up is Chapter 5. It's going to be the first boss fight of the game, but we do not have to defeat the boss, so we're just going to capture the flag behind them and just ignore their presence.
Can I come in for a quick donation?
Yeah, it's a good time.
Alright, we have a $25 donation from Umbasa Mufasa saying, "Shout out to sniperdog147. Please go fast." Thank you so much for that donation.
The enemy supply base is through these woods. Squad 7, move out.
Also, I should point out I am playing with English voice acting, which I usually do not do, so if I seem like weirded out by the sound clips, that is why. Here's defense boost. This is going to really increase our defense. In early game, this basically makes us invincible. And since Ica's going to get Resist Crossfire, I don't think she'll take much damage. We need that because that boss I mentioned, while we're going to ignore them, they're really good at killing us. The scouts have weak defense, and it's a little overtuned. Because you're not supposed to go near it. And that's a landmine. We do not want to step on those. They have very deceptive hitboxes in that I was actually taking that a little closer than a loading look. Here's another one. Here's our boss.
So when capturing a flag, you don't necessarily need to kill the enemies inside the flag zone. You just need to not have them be in the flag zone. We can use that to our advantage by using a grenade and just kind of knocking them out to the side.
Yeah, we're gonna try. There it is. We're gonna try to get the guy that's closest to us to not die. We want him to not die because if he lives, there we go. Perfect. So if he would have lived, there's a chance I would have touched his corpse. And in the first game, when you touch the corpse to the enemy, you lose a bit of time. It's a small optimization, but I'm Really surprised that I actually got that in a run. I almost never get that. Because we have very powerful grenades, which means we usually end up killing stuff. And yeah, we need to resist crossfire. Alright, one more capture the flag mission coming up. This mission we normally would use Alicia, because Maville has desert allergies, but since we're using Ica, I can actually do a slightly faster strat.
Ica is a little better than Alicia because Alicia, when you complete the game for the first time, Alicia acquires a special end game potential that we will more than likely see later in the run, but it usually ends up wasting about double the amount of time as a normal potential.
Yeah, that's the thing with Alicia. The reason we're avoiding her in most playthroughs is she's the best scout in the game. But in a speedrun, that's not a good thing, because we really just need double movement. We hopefully will get that in this mission. And aside from that, all the other potentials are just time wasters. I'll explain double movement if we get it here.
Enemy spotted! Enemy spotted!
Lancers, keep an eye on your ammo.
This is a good time to explain just how resist crossfire works. Every time we get shot at and the enemy reloads, there's a 12.5 chance that we'll get it to proc, which is why it's such a frequent activation.
I see one!
Like, coming up we're gonna have a tank and a shock trooper shoot at us, and they're both chances. And then when that tank reloads, that's another chance. Nice.
Perfect! You think that's enough to stop?
Alright, yeah, that's an example of getting it on a reload. Like, we were basically out of range, but the game is still going to go and process it.
Really?
Alright, time to get the base. And coming up is Chapter 7. If you've played this game casually, you probably remember it as the map with the very big tank that took you a long time to beat. But we have some tricks that are going to make this tank a lot more bearable. And if you are familiar with the new game speedrun of this, it's not going to be going up ladders over and over again. We have a solution to that.
Thanks to specific Lancers and their endgame potentials and endgame guns.
Yes. It's a bit of a specific setup. This is why, like, I equipped 2 Lancers with 2 different weapons. It's extremely convenient that this works, because this is a bit of a nightmare of a chapter in New Game.
So we essentially have to wait a little bit until we can take this tank out, so I'll take that time here to explain what's going to happen. We have to wait until the Batomus, the giant tank there, shoots its cannon. Well, we have to wait 3 turns for it to be able to do so. After it shoots its cannon, 3 radiators are going to appear along its back side. Generally, you would destroy 1 radiator, the other 2 would go down, and then the map would progress, and you would have to slowly walk forward with the tank. However, we can use a specific Lancer gun to bring down each radiator to about 80 health and use a demolition boost on the Edelweiss to destroy all 3 radiators at the same time, clearing this map in 4 turns.
Yeah.
The casual strat to getting this in A rank is actually 9 turns.
Yeah, and it involves, like, shooting down these walls. So you'll see them, I think, next turn. Like, you have to shoot walls to get in the tank's way, and then Maximilian will shoot them, and then makes the radiators open. And the enemy phases are really long. Like, I cleared out all those enemies to give the enemy nothing to do, and it's still going to take the tank a while. And we might get good luck here. We will see. Maximilian can also use orders. They're not going to do anything, but they waste about 10 seconds. We only have one more try for them. Can we get an orderless run in a marathon? Come on, Max. Right now, they're just explaining our loss condition. Maximilian just wants to run over all the bases instead of, like, capturing them. So if all of our bases are captured, or ran over, rather, or Welkin dies, we will get a game over. Nice! Maximilian's being nice today. And there's the radiators that Dr. Time Warp mentioned. You can see there's little, like, hatches above them. They would close on us if we destroyed them, but we're going to be patient with them. Alright, and here's Jen. We have the M01 equipped. This is a really strong weapon, but not too strong of a weapon. Because, again, if we kill these, we will be here for a very long time. We also have ultimate anti-armor. That's an ultimate potential. They're going to be very useful in this run. The only difference between them and super potentials is they activate guaranteed, which is why this kill is not RNG. If this was RNG, it would be quite the nightmare. And there we go. Now we're going to use a mortar to finish them, but first we have to use demolition boost to boost our anti-tank power. Mortars are really weak against, like, tanks, so even if they're at 80 HP and we're in New Game Plus with a stronger mortar, we still need to increase our damage. And there we go. Now it's time for the game to get a bit confused.
So the game doesn't necessarily know what to do when you destroy all three at the same time. So instead of just ending the map, it actually plays out the cutscene that would have appeared as you destroy each one in turn. If you were to do this strat and slow down and actually read the dialogue that's going on, you might notice that they're going to be discussing stuff that you might not know because they didn't talk about it in the map. Well, if you would let the turns progress and the Batomas to keep pushing forward, there would be story cutscenes there that would be playing. But the game doesn't register those, so...
Like, there's like a whole boss that comes in the map, if you can see it real quick. If you just look to the far right, there's like a whole army that showed up. We're just gonna shoot this. Thank you. Thank you, Audrey. Very important potential. Alright, nice. There we go. Chapter 7, not being annoying. It's such a nice skill. And we've got to mention, I always find this funny, Vulcan is going to mention that we do not want to let Maximilian get away, but unfortunately we always let him get away, because otherwise we would not have any more missions left. I like a lot of missions coming up. Even this one.
This one is a little bit of a slower mission. So what happened is Welkin and Alicia were walking with the other troops and they fell down a cliff. And Alicia just so happened to also twist her ankle. So she has about 25% of her normal movement.
Yes, he turned into like a sniper.
Essentially. What you have to do in this map is to bring both Alicia and Welkin to a blue flower so that Welkin can apply some healing ointment to Alicia's ankle, and that would boost her AP. We're only going to do this once because we need cycles to line up, and it's pretty much just as fast as
there's some long cutscenes too.
The second one.
Enemy unit spotted. Think you can stop
Thank you,
me?
Alicia. By the way, the reason we don't like auto lock onto that scout is there's that tree nearby, and it messes with the like aim, but it turns out to be faster anyway because it lines it right up with the head.
My turn, okay?
Like normally our scout would have to like move the cursor up a bit. It's very nice. And we're gonna park Alicia here. And Vulcan's gonna talk to some flowers. Alright, first we need to learn about these lights. I believe this is explaining there's shortcuts based on animal trails. We actually will be using them in the run. And there's the blue flower we mentioned. Go right here. Nice. I haven't missed that in a while.
As you can see, the range on this blue flower is absolutely crazy. Alicia is on the other side of the wall, and we're still able to apply heal.
And Vulcan is like pretty far away from the flower himself, and hopefully I stopped in the right spot. This shouldn't matter, but you technically want to not like be too close to that bridge, or you'll mess up the AI here. There aren't really AI manips in this game like the other games in the series. This is like the only one we have. Alright, good. As long as that guy shuffles, it didn't mess up. Usually, as long as you don't touch the bridge, this is gonna go well. This is also a good time to point out that we're running on PS4, and that is the faster version of this game. I have no idea why, but I mention it because the only thing that's slower is shuffling.
Ready to go.
So like when the enemy's on their turn and they shuffle around, you can't see them. But since we don't let the enemy have a turn, unless we're forced to, it doesn't make the game much slower. If like we had a lot of enemy phases, PC would probably be faster.
Gotta love nature.
There's our searchlights. These are on a universal cycle, but it's not like hard. We're just gonna stop here, go here.
We want to dodge them because they stop us for a few seconds, and they also drop mortars at the end of the enemy turn, which waste about 5 seconds each, so the cycles line up perfectly so that we generally don't hit any extra mortars.
Nice job, Logan. You can do a victory animation there. That's what I call it when like the enemies celebrate after they get a kill. Some of them are optional and others are guaranteed. That is one of the optional ones. And since we just healed Alicia, we're gonna just have her eat a mine. Oh, we didn't get the grass glitch. Sometimes the grass to our left of mine like floats in mid-air, just loading wrong. Yeah, we need to do that boost because we cannot make the cycles otherwise. We'd have to wait for this light.
The mine, having Alicia walk over the mine, does make her faster, and it conveniently lines up every single searchlight cycle for the rest of the map.
Oh wow, nice. Well, this is double movement. As you can see, my AP meter completely filled up, and that is very good in this mission because normally, thank you, Alicia. Normally, we would have to do this in 4 turns, but if I get double movement on the second and third action as Alicia, I gotta do this in 3 turns, so we're gonna be ending a little faster than usual, even if Alicia got quite a few potentials. Alright, 2 chances to resist crossfire, but we already got it. Can't get it twice on the same action. We're just crawling to not have that guy see us. He is very scary and would kill us pretty much instantly. And should mention, we killed all the enemies to make the enemy turns instant. If you were to leave that scout alive, that shock trooper would run in a circle like 3 times every turn.
Here we go.
Alright, and we gotta do the different cycle here. We're gonna eat these searchlights because they're kind of in the way, and they're not gonna launch their mortars because the game's gonna end before they can do it. Alright, and time for like 50 seconds of Alicia hobbling forward.
While that happens, can I maybe talk a little bit about some donation incentives we got coming up?
Yeah, it's a good time.
Alright, great, because for the run after this one, for the Skies of Arcadia run, there's actually 2 incentives for that one. first things, we got the Fight the Imposters incentive, which is a comedic optional boss battle, and it also drops some pretty funny weapons as well that the runner will equip for the rest of the run. Right now, it's getting really close to being met. It's $428 out of $500, so it doesn't need that much more to actually be reached. And besides that, there's also the bid war for the flag choice that will be picked up halfway through the run. Right now in the lead is Igot's flag with $55, but being very close behind by Fina's flag with $51. So if you want to see a different flag being picked up, make sure to get your donations in for that.
Alrighty. Onwards Z2. Vulcan and Alicia have met up with the rest of the group, which is they're on the other side of a bridge. You know, seeing Aika's name just confuses me.
So even though they met up, we still got to get Vulcan back to his tank so that he can issue orders, and more importantly, he has to knock down the wall to the enemy flag. The game is actually hard-coded that it has to be the Edelweiss that destroys that wall.
Yeah. It's unfortunate that in New Game Plus we have no solution. I have tested literally everything, but yeah, it's unfortunately hard-coded. But the good news is it's a really silly and out-of-place looking wall. You'll see what I mean in a few seconds. It is this, like, old castle wall that's in the middle of a forest and not a part of any existing structures. I don't know who built it or why it's there, but it is very funny to me when I noticed that. And we were just going to get Vulcan to the tank because he unfortunately has to get there. Apparently they don't know how to use a tank without him. He doesn't drive the tank, by the way. Asara, you saw in that cutscene, she's who drives the tank. Vulcan just shouts stuff.
So this one can be a little bit of a scary run for our scout, because as you can see on the map and in front of us right now, there are quite a few enemies in our path to the flag. If we don't get resist crossfire, it can be a little bit of a scary run to the very end.
Yeah, so it's time to save. If you remember my ESA winter run I did this, it was New Game, and we were here for quite a while. It's not that bad in this category, so hopefully we get this first try.
And hopefully we get a good resist crossfire.
Yeah. I can get pollen allergy. Hopefully we don't see that this run. But that is a very scary potential. Alright. Took her to the last bullet, but she got it. Little too close for comfort. If that guy would have lived, I would have had to just begin reloading. Time for another boss fight. This one is going to take 15 seconds of gameplay and about a minute of menus and watching a APC. So to give some story details, there's a princess, and she got captured. She's an APC, so we can't use any like explosive weapons. So instead, we're going to snipe it.
They can't get to the harbor. We stop them here.
This is actually a special chapter in the game because this is the only one in the main story where the enemies go first before you do.
Yep. So we're gonna see Vroom Vroom soon.
He doesn't move far, but he still gets a little bit of a turn before us.
Look at that APC go. As slow as it can on PS4. Alright, and now we get to explain a pretty broken combo. So this is Marina. She has ultimate accuracy, and she has an anti-tank sniper rifle. So you want to see the circle, it's very big, even though it's a sniper, but ultimate accuracy turns your sniper rifle into a pointer. So we have a very bad sniper rifle in terms of accuracy that we just turned into perfect accuracy. making it one of the scariest units in the game. And we'll be using her quite a few times throughout the run.
It allows for a few scary shots to be no-brainers.
Yeah. Like, if you saw how big the aim circle was for that, that would have a good chance of failing, and all the shots are going to be like that. Anyway, another auto-scroller. I remember to deploy Alicia. That is important because the movement we do for this is CP perfect, and even if I did get the movement, there's some scouts you're going to see, and if they were to live, they would just walk in my base, and that is a lose condition. So Alicia's there to make sure that neither of those bad things happen.
Enemy sighted. Enemy sighted.
Let's hope these scouts are nice. Just the general way that how the mission works is it takes 3 turns. So we're going to be killing a bunch of enemies on the way to reduce the enemy turns.
Here we go.
Alright, second scout.
Now.
Nice. Alright, so for the rest of the mission, if anyone lives, it's not going to, like, have run-ending potential.
Here we go.
I, like, still don't want it to happen, though.
Enemy sighted.
Alright, and we're just gonna let that tank, there's certainly a tank across the map. We're just gonna let it shoot us. We've tried to find ways in the past to skip this turn, but it's actually faster just to watch the tank shoot you.
Under miner fire.
The damage taken is pretty consistent in this map, so we can get down pretty low, because there's also going to be a Lancer shooting at us later,
Yeah.
but we won't worry about it. So these are the spotlights again. Unfortunately, the Edelweiss is humongous, and there's really no way to dodge these. I've tried in the past lining up different cycles to try and roll around them so that we didn't have to see them, but it's actually just faster to eat the more cutscene than to try and line cycles up.
Yeah, so we're gonna eat a whole bunch of them this turn. Like, we ate that one, and then the one coming up we're just gonna have to eat.
Entering combat.
So a pretty long enemy phase is gonna come up, because we have those Lancers that we mentioned, and then also those Searchlights. We're gonna launch some mortars. Anyway, they attempted to block our bridge
Entering
with
combat.
some tanks, but we can just attack them twice and take care of them. And this is a 3 turn, so we're gonna have a long enemy phase, then just get walk into an elevator and win.
This Lancer is going to decide to shoot at us for a bit, and then eventually he'll decide, oh, I'm tired of shooting at the...
Yeah. He doesn't use his 3rd shot. I don't really know how the AI is. Because the AI tends to, like... If you're playing this casually, the AI has a lot of times where they could just win if they just use, like, a unit 1 extra time. But they just, for some reason, like, really don't like using units multiple times. Like, beyond 2 times.
Enemies. Gotta love nature.
I love how that interrupted that other potential. Of a gotta love nature. Alright, tank number 2. Once again, we're gonna take 2 rounds, take it out. But we have some Lancers, you can see, and they're gonna play a role. We'll see what happens.
Fire!
Just keep up this
Under
pace.
miner fire.
Alright, let's be nice, Lancers. Alright, that is not where I wanted to be, but I think we got it. Aw, no.
Unfortunate.
So, that does not kill the Lancer. Instead, we're gonna have to sit here and just wait for him to come back up.
Gotta love nature.
I believe on PC that loads really fast, but on PS4 the Lancer takes quite a while to get up. And there we go. first half of the run is basically completed. Things are going to get a lot more fast-paced in the next couple chapters and a lot scarier. This is like if in a PB attempt when the run gets pretty serious.
So in this chapter specifically, we're actually looking for the double movement potential to trigger twice.
Yes.
The map is very long and windy, and if we don't get the double movement twice, we actually can't complete it with the command points allocated to us.
Yeah, we have 5 chances to get double movement twice, but we're going to be using a new order for this chapter that's going to increase our chances of success. First, there's a searchlight there for some reason, or rather a mortar. So first, we have a bridge, and we're going to snipe it. It's, I guess, an armored unit, but since this is the anti-tank rifle, it's going to go and kill it. Alright, there we go. You have to do this before the bomb is planted. You're going to see it pretty soon. There's a giant armored train, and we want to drop it into the ocean. But first, we need to get rid of the enemy reinforcements. Alright, now the run is going to start. So
Sniper...
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead. So Sniper is going to use this very strong order called Awaken Potential. It's going to drastically increase the chance of each of the unit's potentials triggering. So hopefully with that, we're going to get Resist Crossfire and 2 double movements. Resist Crossfire will be very helpful because there are a lot of enemies in our path.
Yeah, we didn't get it there, but that's actually good. Alright, nice, there's one. A little movement optimization I'm going to do is because we are going to see it in a little bit, there's tank. We don't need Resist Crossfire on this action, so I'm going to stop a little early just so we don't get the extra Resist Crossfire, so like here. So ideally, we'll get Resist Crossfire via that tank and double movement. Okay. Now we just need double movement and we will be out of one of the worst chapters. Or we could be here for a while.
Enemy sighted. Try to approach the enemy's blind spot. Enemy unit spotted.
Okay, let's be good, Alicia.
Smell of fresh soil.
Ah, unversion.
Moving out. Think you can stop
Alright,
me?
good. Alright. We're gonna have to save. Just in case things get a little scary. Because from here on out, it's going to be pretty quick.
I'm a weapon.
And we also do not want Alicia to die. Ah, unfortunate. That is why we saved.
Help me.
Yes. So while Sniper is reloading his save, as you saw there at the end, Alicia triggered the Valkyria potential. That's the extra long potential that only Alicia has. It essentially boosts every single one of her stats. It boosts her evade stat, her defense stat, her anti-personnel, and her anti-tank stats. It's a very good potential when you're casually playing this for the second time, because it essentially makes Alicia a walking tank. She can take out pretty much anyone in one turn with that potential triggered.
Alright, I don't know, we really don't want this bomb to dodge. Thank you, Alicia. That is what happens when you use Awaken Potential. I should bring up, Valkyria's activation is below half HP. It is going to become important in the next chapter, because while we would like it, because, as Dr. Timeward mentioned, it gives us just everything, we only want it once, because it's a long animation. There goes the train. As we recently realized this, that's the first of 2 long trains being destroyed cutscenes in this game. Such a weirdly specific thing.
They really had it out for trains in this game, it looks
Yeah.
like.
VC4 has like a chapter that has like 4 train cutscenes in it. It's so funny. Unfortunately, I think 2 and 3 are lacking in the train department.
Unfortunate.
Anyway, another scary one coming up. You see on the map, this is what we were talking about earlier, that just is the path we're gonna do in the speedrun. Like, it's so strange how they kind of just tell you, like, to avoid the objectives. Because there's, like, some bases we can capture here, but we're just gonna run to the end. Oh yeah, we also got a new unit, the Shamrock, but we're not gonna be using that for a long time. We're only gonna use it once. So first, bunch of orders. We're going to be using defense boosts, wake up potential, then attack weak spots. That is such a cool order. I wish we could use it more in the run, but we're only going to use it in this chapter. But it's such a lifesaver. Like, if you've seen the older strat for it, it was really a nightmare at the end. But now it's 100% consistent.
This is an order. Aim for their weak spot. Fight dirty.
I've never heard the English voice line for that.
Okay?
Okay, anyway, you see these, like, bunkers? They are invulnerable bunkers, like, you cannot damage them, and they, do a lot of damage. And they're not the only one on the map, so that was a good start. We really want to get resist crossfire right away, because if you don't, even though it's only going to shoot us for a second, and we have defense boost, it's going to shred Alicia. Alright, unfortunately, no double movement there. So even though we barely took any damage, we're gonna heal for safety.
So you saw Sniper do a little bit of odd movement, kind of hugging the left wall. If you were to run down that gate down the middle, you would see a cutscene where enemy reinforcements come in and crowd that initial flag area, and we don't want to run through even more enemies than we have to, because there's a lot in this section and in the upcoming section.
Yeah, right now we're just gonna be shot at by everything. I'll heal if we do not get double movement. Okay, good. So there's some more turrets coming up. I will briefly show them. If we get into a scary spot, I will heal. But we should be winning on this action. Okay, that's good health.
Enemy unit spotted.
Yeah, if you don't get resist crossfire right away in this chapter, you die.
Don't even think of dodging.
So the attack weak spot was actually for that shot trooper in the back crouching. When enemies crouch in behind a sandbag, they have increased defense. The attack weak spot allows every attack dealt act as a headshot. Yeah,
that completely solves that map. Before we had to do like a grenade launch, and it's really specific on that map, in that specific base. There's a tank in front of the sandbags, which means the sandbags don't get destroyed, which means there's a chance the shock trooper, when you grenade launch to them, they'll get stuck on the sandbag and teleport back in the base. So thanks to attack weak spot, we can avoid a lot of RNG for the end of chapter 11.
We're taking back our home, East.
Oh yeah, this is the map from chapter 2, if you remember from way back then. Bit of a briefer chapter, because we have some scary stuff coming up. But this is just a classic walk to the end, capture the flag. Just gonna do a quick defense boost.
This is an order. Brace up and get ready to defend yourself.
And I'm sure Aika will get resist crossfire at one point.
No problem, boss.
Can I mention a few words about what we're actually raising money for right now?
Yes.
Alright, good. Because yeah, I'd like to remind everyone that we as ESA are raising money for the Alzheimerfonden, which is a Swedish national fundraising organization focusing on the Alzheimer's disease and other dementia-related diseases. And their aim is and purpose is to increase fundraising to the benefit of scientific research in order to find a cure for Alzheimer's disease. And they can really use every donation, because even though they distribute almost 30 million Swedish crown each year, they can only fund about 19% of all the projects that they applied for. So every little donation can make such a huge difference.
Alright, and one more enemy in the base. We shot that unit from behind because they're a named unit, and they have a basically really good dodge rate if you were to be from the front, but since they're a sniper, they cannot turn around, which makes them so easy to take care of. If they were any other unit class, well, aside from Lancers, we'd have to, like, get undodgeable shot or get really lucky in order to actually take them out. Alright, time to get a nice sniper rifle. You, anytime you take out a named unit, you get a new weapon. Those are, like, ZMCR9, for example, like, that we've been using for on. Alright, time for Chapter 13. We're gonna be doing a little bit of a trick shot here. Hopefully we do not get any dodges. Actually, hopefully we get the, one turn. Because if we get the one turn, then, that'll be very cool to get into a marathon.
So this strat is incredibly specific. As I mentioned earlier, you don't have to necessarily kill enemy units in a flag area, you just need to knock them out. So we are going to stand in a very specific spot and try and line up our shot perfectly so that we can launch a grenade launcher over the wall and in between two shock troopers so that we can knock them out and capture that flag without killing.
Yes, like, I don't even know where we're shooting at in the base. We just use the wall to figure out what we're doing. So we didn't get double movement, so we're going to be doing this in 2 turns. But the enemy phase is... Thank you. That is our first dodge of the run. It's always that guy. So, Alicia also dodged, but it's not going to matter because we do line her up with the wall to make sure that guy can't shoot us. It's more of a new game thing because this guy could be really scary in new game, but it's still silly to see. Alright, and we're gonna make sure there's no sightlines. We didn't really mention them yet, but sightlines mean the enemy can see you, and it means the enemy's gonna move around, maybe shoot at you. Since there's no sightlines, the enemy's just gonna instantly end their phase. There's like a big, like, dead man's land, and they're gonna launch it and have another one real quick, safety save, just in case that we get another dodge. It'd be pretty funny to see everything dodge in Chapter 13.
It would, and unfortunately you only get one launcher shot, so
yes.
That's another for the save.
Alright, so we're gonna use our Ragnade, not because we're healing, just because we want the cursor. Go up and down. Hopefully my inputs went well. Ah, unfortunate. So we're gonna have to reload.
So you might have saw it a little bit, the camera move. Sniper is also having to move the camera ever so slightly up because the initial trajectory is only going to get the closer one. We have to get both of them out of the flag zone.
Yeah, and unfortunately in New Game Plus, we have to do some extra inputs. So every time we do an input in this, there's a chance we'll get eaten or we'll go down a bit. So that's probably what happened there, but we're good now. We actually took quite a bit of damage, but that is not concerning. We'll be fine. Oh, and Welcome has arrived. That is actually important. And there's Valkyria again. She appears throughout the game, but we basically ignore her. She's like one of the box art, I think. And all that was just to open a wooden gate. Wow, that was a lot of damage.
That was a little close.
Yes. That is like the lowest I've seen in New Game Plus in a while. Anyway, we're gonna stop here, because there's another base up here. We're gonna do a silly strat. This was found pretty recently. Ah, unfortunate. Look at what surprise. It's just about the same time if Vulcan gets his second try.
Gotta love nature. Fire!
Alright, that's good.
Good enough.
So with that, we can do this in one cycle. The old strat, we would use penetration, and then one cycle this was released. So you can see tanks, I think if I mentioned this, move really slow in PS4. If this was on PC, we'd have gotten shot there. Alright, just about the last scary mission of the game is coming up. Chapter 14. It's a bit of an auto-scroller, but there's a way to do it in one turn, but it involves a lot of RNG. Like, 13 had, like, the dodge and, like a few things like that, maybe taking too much damage. This is, like, every action is just luck. So, hopefully we're not here too long. Going to deploy Aika and Audrey. We're going to need them for taking out these tanks that are going to show up. But first, we get to watch some enemy phases, or rather, our phase. You'll see. So, Alicia is a Valkyria, like Salvaria, which we do not see in the run. She's just gonna walk around and shoot a bunch of stuff. I'm just gonna spin the camera. It's a little disappointing that it's slower on PS4, but it still looks cool.
Fun little fact about this segment, if you were to continuously end your turn in this area, Alicia will always get a turn and just slowly walk along the map, killing everything.
Yeah, it's impossible to lose this mission if you just don't play, but then so in this game there's like a 20 turn limit. We're never going to see that, but if you reach 20 turns, you actually get a game over. So let's do her like binoculars moving slowly with her. I just noticed that. Now it's time for serious stuff. So first, we're going to use some orders. Awaken Potential and Penetration on Aika.
You can do this. Trust in yourself.
So you may be thinking to yourself, well, why are you needing to do Awaken Potential and Penetration when there's clearly just a flag in the middle that you need to capture? Well, the flag is big. This is actually a pincer attack, and 2 tanks are going to spawn on the north and south side sections. We need Aika to do a double movement here in order for this to work. We need to have her run all the way to the very end so that she can destroy the north tank on this turn.
Alright, unfortunate. We did get double movement on the first action. That makes things a little complicated, but it should be fine. We're just gonna have to do some safety saving, most likely. Alright, and here is that pincher attack. We're gonna occupy this base, and then they're gonna turn out that there's some tanks. But we already know about this, so it's all good. We're gonna be getting in position soon enough. Our teeny bit of Japanese voice acting that we get during this. That clip is always in Japanese for some reason. Gonna have to pay attention for a bit because we were having trouble earlier getting this with Aika. It might just be like a male-female different thing with units. Because they have different models. Hopefully this works. Alright, nice.
So yeah, so all male units actually have the same model, and all female units have the same model. That also is how the Chapter 13 grenade launcher strat works, because Alicia is the only one in the game who is able to make that perfect shot. Male units are too tall to make the shot work, while female units are too short to make it work. Alicia, being a story unit, is actually just the perfect height in between those to be able to make that grenade launcher strat successful.
Yeah, there's a few more differences, like female shock troopers have a slower rate of fire, but we will not be seeing that in the run though. Alright, our last action, and we're going to be saving. Because we have only 2 actions, and we're going to need Audrey to shoot a tank from across the map twice. So if I miss once, we will not be able to complete the strats. But hopefully he just lands over shots. Alright, Audrey.
I'm stronger than I look. Watch this.
Unfortunate, he hit threads.
Ooh, orders from the boss. I'm stronger than I look. Watch this.
Alright, there's one. And we'll be saving again. The reason I'm moving the camera a bit, or my aiming circle, is because if I hit the turret, that's just going to be the turret, and then the tread. So normally there's like the turret is part of the body, so it's good to hit it, but these tanks are special.
Ooh, orders from the boss. I'm
Alright, one more shot, Audrey.
Watch this.
Ah, there's the turret. We've hit all 3 targets so far. And we're going to make sure we hit circle, because if I were to end phase, we would be here for a very long time. Because there's a lot of enemies. I think there's like 5 or 6 enemies on each side of the base. And they would all take an action.
Ooh, orders from the boss.
Thankfully, the game allows you to look at the map and still plan out before the enemies move.
Yeah. Imagine if it would just automatically go. We would be here for a very long time.
That would be very unfortunate.
Yes, but thankfully it asks us first, so we can complete the map. And from here on out, things are going to be quite a bit smoother. As like the last scary mission. Oh, I also should mention, Chapter 13 is the last mission that we can get a dodge. From the rest of the game, we're not going to face any regular units. We're going to either capture flags or fight bosses. Here we'll be capturing, well, activating gates, but effectively 3 flags.
There are 3 switches total. Let's clear the way.
What we're trying to do is launch a train full of Ragnite through the gate so that we can storm the fort.
Yes. Normally this is actually one of the scariest missions in the run, but I'm going to use Defense Boost and it's going to be a lot more consistent. Skipping Defense Boost here makes you have to resist Crossfire twice. But we have a good chance of it because we're also going to use Awakened Potential.
You can do this. Trust in yourself.
Moving out. Can't beat the smell of fresh soil. Enemy sighted. Enemy unit spotted. Keep your eyes peeled for mines. I'm a weapon.
Bit unfortunate that we did not get Resist Crossfire there. We might have to heal later if we don't get it on the next time. But if we would have not used Defense Boost, we would have been dead.
Can't beat the smell of fresh
Thankfully,
soil.
we never need to shoot in this map, so healing doesn't really take too much off the time.
There's double movement. We only need it once this mission, and unfortunately, we're not going to learn the ladders are.
Enemy sighted.
You're going to see in a second, Sniper's going to stop in a specific spot. If you were to stop a little past those barricades there, we would get a very long cutscene explaining ladders and how ladders work.
Wait, will we get it? Because, alright, unfortunately. I could have sworn that one time I got the cutscene when I had a heal, So I was thinking maybe because we had to do an action, it would give us it.
I'm a weapon.
Alright.
No,
Are we gonna get...
a shield. I'm taking extra special care.
Resist Crossfire is not cooperating right now. Let's grab the heal again.
Think you can
There we go. A little late, but I'm very happy to get it. And we have one more gate to open. I'm gonna be careful about those mines and everyone else. Alright, there we go. Last gate opened.
Never mind the fact that we just left a bunch of enemy troops still
Yeah.
alive and completely surrounding Alicia. We completed the mission.
The train's gonna be fine. There's our train. Coming up is our boss fight with Salvaria. We've mentioned her a few times in the run, and she's always been off-screen. So this is a really big map, as you can see, with a lot of different objectives. And she has a very good dodge rate, but we're gonna cheese this fight.
We're going to cheese it in a very unique way. We actually have to have the Edelweiss toss down a smoke grenade, and then have the Shamrock go forward a little bit, see sight lines on Salvaria, back up so the sight lines are broken, and then shoot. If the Shamrock were to shoot Salvaria while she has a sight line to the tank, she has like a 100% dodge rate or something like that.
Way ahead of you.
We got... I don't know why, but you get Nature Lover on this map. Isn't this map, like, entirely indoor, or like, in a fortress? So strange. Alright, nice. I'll explain Salvaria's hitbox. So, you might think you want to hit her in her head, but I figured this out a while back. It's actually better to hit her, like, her neck and slightly to the right. If I were to actually aim at her head, it would likely have taken 2 cycles for that kill to work.
It's probably all that long extra hair being a hitbox, maybe?
Yeah. Some of the hitboxes in this game can be weird. Anyway, this is the longest mission in the game. As you can see, it is a very, very long map, and we're just going to be using Welkin.
We have to divert that monster away from the capital. Squad 7, move out!
As Welkin said there, we're diverting the Marmota, the giant tank, away from the capital. We're going to be doing that by shooting some Ragnite crates and making some rocks fall.
Yep. So, first, we can't shoot anything, so we're going to hide.
Fire!
Just like last chapter, we use a smoke round so they can't see us. If you do it in your turn, you just will be invisible to the enemy most of the time. And that will skip the entire enemy phase. And the Shamrock is just gonna die. It did its one thing for the run. Bye-bye, Zaga. Excuse me. Alright, and coming up is those crates that Dr. Timeharp mentioned earlier. Hopefully Welkin hits them. This is New Game Plus, so his cursor is much more accurate than New Game, but there's still a slight chance he will fail. We have other tries though, so it's not like we're gonna have to save more load.
Here we go!
This is also a set turn count. We cannot complete this map before 9 turns because we have to watch the Marmota be diverted. So, it's not too bad. It's not the worst thing if we have to take an extra round moving.
Yeah. This is a bit of an odd mechanic, but I will explain it because it's going to be important for the next shot. The camera shakes when, like, you target. So, like, I'm going to do that to adjust the camera back. It's only when the tank does, like, long shots. And it's very unfortunate because it can actually shake off where you're supposed to be. Anyway, we're going to do another smoke round. and hopefully the Lancer is cooperative. And that's us making a landslide. What we want to do is we want to make sure the Marmota follows us. So we're going to make a bunch of landslides so it can't go that way. Alright, nice.
Even though you'll see shortly the Marmota is just going to just completely blow over this little mini base here, and yet those tiny rocks it gets diverted by.
Yeah, I don't know actually how the landslides slop top the Marmota. Like, I'm pretty sure it's big enough to run through them. It doesn't even look like that many rocks. And anyway, they're just explaining what we already explained. And one of the unfortunate things of this mission is the Marmota likes to try to shoot us with a bunch of mortars, and they're just gonna spawn 2 mortars every single turn. I just say a little RNG too, because if they hit a tree, then we have to go for like, the animation of the tree falling. Hopefully that's not happening.
Preparing to take action.
Alright, another smoke round. Think it's close to a tree. We'll see.
Sometimes the mortar shots are a little deceptive in this game. They can either be a little bigger or a little shorter depending on how the game feels at that particular time.
Yeah, it looks like one hit the tree. We'll see. Nice. You would hear it's like a big cracking sound. I think it's right out of the range of the tree again. Did Max decide to shoot the same spots? It looks pretty close to where he shot last time.
Looks like it.
Yeah, I've never really paid attention to where they land. Almost to the end. Turn 5 will be the last turn of gameplay. The next couple turns will just be waiting for the Marmota to get to our location. Once it gets, can't really show it on the camera, but to the right of where I'm going, because we're going to be shooting in a bunch of crates again to prevent it from going the way where we're going. You'll see on turn 5. No trees. Nice. I don't think it can happen anymore because Marmota is going to run through its own base. Oh wow. Missed the trees again.
Here we go.
Alright, and here's the crates coming up. See one over there, and there's one to the right. These ones are a lot more consistent because we're really close to them. Hopefully that's good position.
Entering combat. Fire!
Luckily, we're able to park the Edelweiss on the other side of the barricade here. That allows us to kind of hide away from the enemy troops on the left side of the map right there.
Yeah, that's why we didn't use a smoke round. The landslide is effectively a smoke round. So we won't be doing anything the next couple turns. Alright, nice. There's a small chance if you're in a different position that the enemies in that town over there will see you. They can't hurt you, but they'll shuffle around for a while. But we're good now. Now we're just gonna wait for the Marmota to get there. We're gonna skip this turn and the next. Shoutouts to the eyes on the Marmota. You'll see in a second, it kind of looks like it has a face. Alright. They're gonna mention the fork, but we already blocked it off. Couple more mortars, and we will win the chapter.
While you finish up this chapter, may I read out a few prizes that people can win?
Yes, this would be time.
Alright, great. So yeah, of course, we're still raising money for the Alzheimer's Foundation, but I'd like to mention that if you donate a total of $30 or more throughout this event, you'll be eligible to win a ViewSonic Elite XG270 QG monitor. And it's been provided to us by ViewSonic, so huge thanks to them. Minimum of $30 and you'll be eligible to win that. If you then also go for a minimum donation of $50, you'll also be eligible to win a Nintendo Switch. And I have a Nintendo Switch myself. It's a really cool console. And this prize has been provided to us by Kaspersky. Thanks so much for that. If you donate $50 or more, you'll be eligible to potentially win that. So if you wanted that extra, little bit of extra incentive to donate, well, maybe this will get you motivated.
Alright, time for the demo and penetration missions. We've used these ordered separately, but we're going to be using them together with a weapon called the T-Mag-20 to do some boss kills. It is the most damage we can do.
This is an order.
So this map is actually the same map as we were in chapter 5, I believe it is.
4.
4, and the boss is actually the same boss from chapter 5.
Yeah.
Destroying the target is your top
It's during the
priority.
day though, so it's gonna look pretty different.
This boss is a little smarter than the other tank drivers. He actually put a bunch of shields around his tank, and he covered up the radiator. So you gotta take the shield out before you're able to actually knock him out. If you look closely on the barrel of his cannon, it looks like he put a mustache on it.
Yeah. We'll see when we get closer.
I've always thought of it as a mustache. You might think something different.
Alright. There's a chance we may win on this action. Otherwise, this is CB perfect. We'll see what Kevin does. Unfortunate. If he would have gotten a double attack, we would have just been able to win that action. But it's all good. We're just gonna shoot once more. Alright, there we go. We could have actually gotten double attack after the boss died, and we would have had to go for the animation. One of the silly things in this game. Alright, 2 more maps left. They're pretty quick. First, we're gonna skip a bunch of story mission cutscenes. And 18-1. This map is normally a 2-turn in New Game, because we do not have the T-Mag-20 until after we clear it. But since we have the T-Mag-20, we can clear this map very quickly. We're just deploying some, we might have not explained this yet, but leader units like Alicia, Rosie, Largo, they give us extra CP, and we're using them in 17-18-1 because we need all the CP we can get.
They allow us to issue all the orders and actually make these maps in a single turn.
Yeah, so once again, demolition boost, penetration.
what we're doing here is taking out 2 radiators because there's going to be a shield across a Valkyrian cannon, essentially. And what we got to do is destroy the cannon so that we can get up on the deck of the Marmota to face off against Maximilian.
Yes.
Roger that.
As you will see, that giant lance, it will play a role in 18-2. Hopefully it's nice.
I see an enemy.
So I'm trying to come here just so we can quickly get up. And as soon as we see something, it should hit. We have 35 shots and we only need 4 to hit, so it's pretty rare to miss these.
Everybody be careful.
Roger that. I see an enemy.
So we're also going to use this T-Mag 20 to take out that cannon. You may notice that the accuracy of the gun is very inadequate at longer ranges, but thankfully the cannon has a huge hitbox, so we're able to take it out with this pretty reliably.
Yeah. You'll see in soon. Oh, we got 2 victory animations. Good job, Captain. Yeah, you'll see that, like, even though we're not in range, if you look on the cursor, if it's clear instead of red, it means we're out of range. Even though we're out of range, we're still able to do so much damage. And we didn't miss a single shot that round.
Roger that.
It's like 3 actions, or 2 if we get double attack.
Roger that.
Alright, there's a middle head. That just increases his damage by a bit. Alright. Last mission is coming up, so time is going to be in about 2.5 to 3 minutes. Depends on how the RNG goes, because I'm doing a different strat than what we would do in normal runs. I wanted to use Vice for this strat, and his strat is a little less consistent than, like, Axel or Hans. Alright, so we're gonna play a Sniper and Vice.
So Maximilian here has artificially acquired the power of the Valkyria, although he is using 3 generators to power himself up to do so. We gotta take those generators out so that we can kill him.
Yes, we'll mostly be using our Sniper, but we'll also use the Shock Trooper for the tower on the right. And we'll have to pay attention here. I think we got good luck. It's RNG where that rubble falls, and it can actually play a big role in the run. Alright, nice. So we didn't get it in our way. It can sometimes block our path. That was really nice rubble. Alright, so there's 1 tower, and once again it's Marina, so accuracy is perfect. Then you can see that one is like meant for a sniper rifle. It's very far away. Alright, there's a second one.
Sweet dreams.
Alright, next we're going to use penetration on Vice. We're also going to be using Awaken Potential for this kill, but I'm going to wait to the next action, just because it would be inconvenient to get, like, another potential on this action. We don't need it, we just need penetration. Alright, so there's all the towers. Next, we're gonna count to 10. We're gonna park right here. Maximilian's gonna shoot us. Then I'm gonna run forward while he's reloading. We're not gonna let him shoot us. Alright, and time may or may not be, like, right now. Depends on how this goes. So we're using Awaken Potential, and hopefully I get either super damage or double attack. If that happens, we will get the kill.
The reason we the safety save here is because if we don't get either of those, Maximilian is going to be at a very bad health pool and essentially run away.
Alright, so time is coming up right now. And time.
One more for good measure.
Yes, we got the thing. So, quick trivia about Valkyria Chronicles. We call time in every game at 0 HP, not at Operation Complete. But I figured this out recently. The game will actually not end until double attack, so technically I guess we should change our timing that bit. Such a funny thing. Alright, and that is the rest of the run. So I have some quick shoutouts. Shoutouts to ESA for having me, and for Dr. Time Warp for helping me accommodate. And a quick shoutouts to Valkyria Chronicles 3 and 4. If anyone's interested, those two categories are being routed right now. They don't really have much runners, and like the routes are nowhere near as optimized as 1 or 2. So if anyone's interested in learning those games or helping routing, it'd be really nice. And there's a big plane flying in the sky.
We're not gonna have time. We've gotta jump.
No problem.
This is the first time I've seen this game's ending in English, with me playing at least in years.
Beautiful cutscene.
Whew. That was a close one, bro. Leon, it must have taken forever to finish building this. Where did you find the time? After we lost Isara, Casey and myself, well, everyone in the squad really came by to...
Oh yeah, Sora died. We didn't really mention her much in the run though, because he's not like a playable character.
I don't suppose it was.
You might have noticed the tank driver switched from Asaria to...
KC, is that his name? It's been a while since I played this game casually.
K something. Chris, I think.
Yeah.
This baby can take us clear across the sea if we want. Back home. Back to a free country. Our friends are waiting. Take us to Randbreeze.
We're out good now.
October, 1935. The death of Maximilian, commander of the Empire's invasion of Gallia, paved the way for truce between the two nations. After 7 tumultuous months at war, Gallians everywhere looked forward to a time of hard-won peace. Squad 7 of the Gallian militia disbanded shortly after the conflict's conclusion.
Oh yeah, that's what we're called. Welcome South Squad 7 every mission.
Each following his or her own path. And here, at the end of
Yeah, I guess we'll start wrapping it up here then. So yeah, up next is gonna be the Skies of Arcadia Legends run. So make sure to stay tuned for that. I'd like to quickly use this moment as well to mention that there's still some donation incentives open for that one. First things first is the incentive for fighting the imposters. It's an extra optional boss battle that will be done during the run. Currently it's $428 out of $500. So we're actually getting pretty close to that donation incentive. So if you want to see that, make sure to get your donations in towards that. And besides that, there's also the bid war for selecting which flag they'll pick up halfway through the run. Right now, Aika's flag is in the lead with $55, but still being very close behind with Fina's flag at $51. Vice's flag is still at $0 at this point, but you know, anything can still happen. You know, you got a few more. The run will take a little bit, so there's still plenty of time to put your donations towards that as well. So yeah, with that, we'll go to our intermission screen, and we'll be back after with Skies of Arcadia Legends. Thanks again for running, and yeah, stay tuned.
Yes, and thank you for having me.